All right. Hey, it is July 12th. Welcome to another session of Post and Walters, another thrill-packed hour of intriguing intrigue and copiers and business and office technology and all things cool like that. We have a special guest today, Bill, who is from Kodak, right, Bill?
Kodak.
All right.
Kodak Alaris.
Oh, okay, cool. So we're gonna have some cool conversations about, I think, scanners and stuff in general, which
Yes, very
and,
exciting.
and AI. They've got some new AI stuff
well,
out,
we
right?
Yep.
could talk about that. But let's see. So I had a little bit of stuff, but I guess there's scuttlebutt in the industry, right? It's the middle of the summer. Ricoh's got some interesting news that popped up. I'm not sure if that's rumor or real, but I guess they're looking at riffing out some folks. I did see something not too cool about POA. Action Intel just sent something, not my way, but sent something out that they're involved with a sexual harassment suit that I guess, all right, for the industry, it's not that unusual, unfortunately. But for this particular suit, it is unusual that the judge let it go through. Now, I didn't read into it, so I didn't go anywhere further, but haven't heard of one of those in a long time, and here we are. I was just commenting earlier this week how much things have not changed. Although
And you
so
know
much
what? With
has
all
changed.
all the harassment training that we take in corporate America, you can't believe it still goes on.
It's incredible, and it brought up a bunch. I hadn't thought about it in years, or a couple years at least. But then it brought up a bunch. Of, yeah, I remember this, and oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, okay. Things
Right.
really haven't changed that much. It's a shame because our industry. The one saving grace I had in my head was, well, we're not the only industry where this happens, right? It's got to happen everywhere. Where a bunch of people get together and work together, things are going to go nuts. But it was just sad to see it again. So that's out there. Boy, layoffs are still hitting the rest of the world, right? Into it. Those guys who do the accounting system, they're laying off 1,800 and replacing them, though, with AI talent, people who know AI. Well, I have to distinguish that because there are other companies that are laying off folks in the publishing industry and just replacing them with AI as opposed to folks who know how to use AI. So that's interesting. How about you, Art? What are you seeing? It's been a couple of weeks since we got together.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. I took a much needed vacation after the end of the first half, right?
Yeah.
And now as I was telling somebody yesterday, I hate the vacations because you always end up paying it back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So off to the next half of the year, I got a good first half of the year. So I'm 2 months on the plus side for quota. Well, but I'm probably going to give back an entire month this month, right?
Yeah.
So, we spoke earlier about well, let's find out a little bit more about Bill.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Bill,
Okay, so
tell us something.
an industry veteran. I've been doing this since I was a kid. And, I've worked my way through many companies. I spent the bulk of my career at Panasonic. I was there for about 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went, I know Mike Maruzic at Sharp. I worked for Mike Maruzic at Sharp, did some time at Kyocera, and really ended up I was a national sales manager at Sony. Probably, great job. But that was right when COVID hit.
Oh.
And so myself and about 15 people, we all got whacked. First time in my life I was ever laid off. And it's a
Wow.
very humbling experience, but I was very fortunate to get a job right away. And so I'm working for Kodak Alaris, and we do scanning. And really our main product is, besides scanners, document scanners and services, we're doing a lot with artificial intelligence, with capture extraction software. And it's really amazing the interest out there. So I book between 2 to 3 new meetings a week with end users.
Really?
And I'd say the biggest thing you have right now is that your percentage of close is about 30%.
Okay.
Because the big thing is what basically what it does is you can take a document, you could take a PDF, or any way, multi-channel image comes in. It will capture that image, extract it, and then takes it and throws it into whatever downstream application you have. So literally, it completely eliminates any kind of manual entry, data entry. So, I mean, it really works well, but I kind of look at it as like the cloud industry. And if you remember when cloud first started, nobody wanted cloud because they were afraid, they're like, what's the cloud? And then eventually Home Depot embraced it, and then that was it. Once Home Depot embraced the cloud, it was game over. And I think that's where we're at right now with AI. And I really do think it's going to really boost the copier channel, as I like to call it, because it's such a great product. And it's not only us; everyone's going to be coming out with it. But if you're an MFP salesperson and you show a customer how, hey, I could scan these documents, take that information and throw it into your accounting system, it really does. I mean, the customers are just completely wowed by it. I hate to say it, it's almost like a fax machine back then, where a person sees, the page here and then it's in Tokyo. But it's really that exciting right now. But it's a matter of getting the customers to pull the trigger. That's the hard part right now.
Yeah, I can
Really?
imagine. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I'm glad to hear you mentioned Panasonic. I did a stunt. I served 7 years at Icon, and then did a year at with a Panasonic dealer, bringing him up from analog fax to digital fax. But the reason I bring it up is because of their scanners, right? That's when
Yep.
I really started to get into scanning. And one of our customers was Google. This is a long time ago, and their goal was to scan everything, everything.
I remember that. I remember that project.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
was out in California at the time with Irvine and stuff like that. But okay, so you say that when I hear what you say, I hear it because I've heard, we that's the way I used to sell it before. You could you scan it in, but you had all these other steps that you had to do. It could OCR the invoice number, and it knew that the template for that invoice number meant that the customer was here, the blah, 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 all that crap that went on.
Yep.
So are you saying that the AI embedded takes care of all that stuff?
Well, it's not embedded, but yes. So
Okay.
what happens is we're a wrapper around like Microsoft, Amazon, Google. So what we do is accounts payable is the best application. It's the
Okay.
easiest to understand. So
Right?
we have a charter school in Connecticut we just sold, and they process about 1,000 invoices, individual invoices per week. So normally they'd have 5 accountants sitting there entering the data and then processing it. But now what they do with the software, the invoice comes in, it goes to the cloud, it gets all extracted, and it gets thrown into what they call their Tyler Technology Munis system. And literally, it just matches up everything. Everything's okay. It goes on to get paid. So it's really simple in terms of like trying to sell this to a customer. It's easy to understand. Not as implementing is a little bit, tougher because, you have to integrate it with other people's software. But once it's in, it really is just what you said, where it's kind of like magic, where it just takes all that information that's needed and then throws it downstream.
Is it analogous to an API? Is that how it connects to the?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
So is all of that integration professional services?
Correct. And the way Kodak does it is, a lot of companies want to do their own professional service. So we do it for like the first opportunity that a reseller has, because we don't sell anything direct, is we will actually do the professional services for the reseller. But then we have the reseller tag along with us to make sure they understand exactly what they're doing. And it's most, these guys are solution people, whether they're Ricoh or Toshiba or, independent, they grasp it right away. They completely understand it. I even use myself as a benchmark, and I know how to demo it. And if I can demo it, then anyone can. And that's just the way I rate it.
So are you the first scanner OEM that's launched this, integration?
Yeah,
AI?
other companies such as Abby, Square 9 is starting to do it. So there are other companies that are not scanner companies, but we are the first scanner company. And it's interesting that you brought that up, Art. When I do a lot of prospecting, I love prospecting. It's a mental deficiency. And when I was,
I'd say so.
well, you're like me.
Yeah.
We're the last of the last that really like prospecting.
The shoe leather
And
guys, huh?
in my prospecting, I was using the word scanner. So I was positioning it as a scanner solution. but it's not. I get more opportunities because of just, multi-channel input, cloud fax, PDFs, email. I can extract data directly from an email. So that was a mistake I made. And once I eliminated the word scanner in my prospecting, that changed everything. And that's how I'm getting the 2 to 3 meetings a week.
So what's your prospecting look like? What does that talk track look like?
Well, I actually show it's really just basically, it's very short. I always keep the emails to something that you could read on your phone, right? And by the way, a lot of people, Greg and Art knows this, I've spoken to them about this. People say email prospecting is dead. It's not. If you have a concise message and you just explain what I'm trying to do, you give a little brief thing about the product. And with this product, I actually show a diagram of what it's doing. It's taking the data, throwing it to the cloud, throwing it to the AI up in the cloud, and then throwing it downstream. Very simple to understand. And so that's how I do it. It's just extremely simple.
Well, yeah, I think that to expand on that, it isn't that email is dead; it's bad sales emails are dead because
yes,
so
exactly right.
Many of them. It's like, are you kidding me, dude? But if I'm like you, probably we read the regarding. If there's a little interest there, then we click, and if I see a bunch of words, it goes away, right?
Oh yeah,
like, I don't even. It's like, but if I can see a little paragraph, okay, now at least read it. So I'm thinking, well, the person who sent this is brief, good. And then it's like, well, okay, the content still sucks, or no, it is interesting, but at least it gets in there. Yeah, you're right. I like it.
Yeah, man, it's funny. Right before this, I got a PowerPoint slide. It's 25 slides packed with data that we're supposed to send out to our resellers. I'm like, no one's going to read it. I'm not going to read it. I'm not.
So that came from corporate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel bad.
Never change.
Great information, but no one reads. No one has the time to do that anymore.
Wow. Well, the thing is put that 39 slides through an LLM and have it summarized for you.
Yeah, exactly right. It's interesting about prospecting. So this next week, I have a call with Zoom. They have that intent feature where
yeah.
So, and I haven't used it yet. So I have a call with Zoom on Monday where they're going to introduce it to me, and then another company called 6 Cents, the number 6 and cents,
right?
Because they say they have one that's better, and that's what I really want to see whether or not this works. Because it's scraping, it's got bots out there scraping data of who's clicking on what websites, but that could be a game changer for salespeople if it really does work.
Yeah. I don't want to go off on yeah, there are no tangents. So what does that mean? What's the benefit to you or a salesperson to use something like that without using the name?
So if I just say that I'm looking for someone that wants to buy document scanners,
okay,
and if we find that person's been clicking on Epson, Canon, Fujitsu, or Ricoh, they're going to say that this person is actively looking for scanners, and then that's going to pull down, give me that person's email address, phone number, and I could reach out to them, instead of just a blind, not knowing whether the person's really looking or not. So it'll be, they both see it.
Was that Zoom Info or Zoom
Zoom Info. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Zoom Info. Yeah. Not
okay. Got it.
Okay. Very interesting. Yeah. Boy, that's interesting.
Yeah. I love Zoom Info.
Well, old school stuff, right? Even
yeah. Zoom Info. I've been using it for years, but they keep updating it. But
yeah. So, okay. And again, what are you doing for are you dealer development or direct customer? Where do you fit in that?
I'm really, I handle the Northeast and Canada. So it's a small area, but I'm dealer development. But the way I develop dealers is by getting end users.
Right.
I mean, how many times can you call on an Art before he says, don't call me anymore?
Right.
We're scanners. When you're a scanner company, you are the French fry in a value meal. Maybe the ketchup, because we're an add-on where, people say, hey, I need a scan.
Barbecue sauce.
Yes. So we have to position ourselves differently where, we have to bring opportunities to the reseller. That's the way it works.
What do you look for in a reseller besides a pulse?
It's really interesting because normally it used to be, really document management companies.
Yeah.
Companies that have been doing this for years. But I find that, even the Sharps of the world, Ricoh just landed like $1 million deal for New Jersey DMV for our product.
Oh.
And, and they use it now for scanning all the registrations and insurance forms now through this AI product. And the people at the DMV that did it all got promoted.
Really?
Yeah, which
Wow.
is it saves them that much. And that's what the hardest part of this product is. When it gets implemented, it's freaking so good.
Mm.
But getting the customer, it's just again, it's the infant. You're right, it's brand new.
Yeah.
But it's once it takes off, it's going to take off for the whole industry.
So, just for so that solution would include your hardware, right?
You know what?
Tell me about that.
If they want to sell Ricoh copiers with it or Sharp copiers, I don't care.
Okay.
It works great. We recommend the
Really?
standards, but it works with anything.
Okay.
And it works better. It works better with Kodak. That's the only thing.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty interesting.
That's
Yeah.
really interesting. So
I think
what are the
we've got to talk.
yeah, art's all over it. Okay. So what are the numbers? You're in the east, the Northeast, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
But in my past, I've covered the United States, so
Sure.
that's why I'm so familiar with all the, Google. When I used to do this display sales at Panasonic and projectors, Google was one of our accounts. And by the way, I landed that by cold calling.
Oh.
It was just to one of the top guys. They always go top down, and that's how I got that account.
Nice.
There's a lot to talk about, but I think I want to talk about that. So tell us about your cold calling technique, what you do on a daily basis.
It's consistency.
Okay.
If I didn't cold call, I would have no appointments. So I'm cold calling for both new resellers as well as end users.
Right.
So my goal is I always set a goal where I have to have 2 to 3 new end user meetings per week. And because of AI, it's a lot easier because and I go CIO level. Sometimes I will go to, a CFO if I'm presenting it as an accounts payable solution, but generally you go CIO, and it's one of these products right now where they say, you know what, I want to take a look at it.
Okay.
Afterwards, you may not get anything, but get you in the door.
So the interest at the CIO level, what are you noticing? Is it something that they're interested in, or is it the interest being driven by other areas in that company?
So today we had a meeting with a company out on Long Island, and the only reason why they told us, they received my email, I did a phone call, and they said, we've already started investigating this.
Okay. All right.
But only directly through working with Microsoft. They were on, Microsoft looking at their AI, but our product is a wraparound that pulls it all together.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings up another thing. So if a company is looking at, say, a full AI integration into their organization, right? And it could be whatever. They're going to, from purchasing all the way out to HR. How does your solution fit into something that big, that, universal and encompassing? So do you stand alone as your own AI up in the cloud, or does it matter, I guess?
Yeah, great question. So
but two things, technically and then organizationally as you implement.
All right. So we are an on-ramp. That's the best way to look at us. We are just an on-ramp that has the tools to use the AI that's there. Okay. And then you could put it into whatever system you want to put, whatever connector you want to use. You could put, if you want to use SharePoint, go directly into SharePoint. The one that we don't have yet is Epic, because Epic is the Epic has 35% of the healthcare market. And so right now we scan, I shouldn't use the word scan, but we send to OnBase, then the Epic pulls from OnBase.
I'm just going to interrupt you. Sorry, do you have something for Sage?
I don't, off the top of my head, I do not know. I bet we do, because we've been implementing with almost anything out there.
And what's the name of your solution? You got a name?
Well, it's named Info Input. Okay. Now, I would love a different name. For whatever reason, that name kind of sounds kind of old. To me, it doesn't get the full power of the product, but so it's Info Input or IIS.
Okay.
And they got some geniuses, you know, working behind the scenes that update it all. It's great. It's a great product.
So, you know, let me back up almost 2 blocks here. So Kodak, right? The name, the logo, everything. It's not the same company as it was before, what am
Yeah,
I
well,
thinking?
look, so you're gonna love this story. Hopefully, so hey, it's funny. So I work with kids at Fordham University, and I walked in for at the end of the year, they're grad students. I walk in to check in, and the security guard goes up to me, and I give him my business card. He goes, "Kodak, you went bankrupt in 1996. You had 360,000 employees." And I go, "How do you know?" He goes, "Well,
Ooh,
I'm working on it as a case study right now."
no kidding.
Yeah, and for business schools, it's used as a case study. And what happened was everything was filmed, but we are an offshoot of Kodak. And a lot of we have people here 40, 50 years. So we are
Oh,
part of the original Kodak, but it's Kodak Alaris, which is spun off. There is still the main Kodak, which is a separate company, but we're like kind of an offshoot of it.
okay. All right. And so the US, is it a US? It's not a US company, or
It's
I'm trying
well,
to.
we're based out of Rochester, New York, but it's owned by a company out of London.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So the US footprint is, you're in the Northeast. How many dealers do they have across the country, and what's their growth pattern? What are they looking to do?
We're really, it's a very steady, we grow our biggest business is the larger units. So like they call them
Production.
distributed, yeah,
Production
production
scanning.
units. That's our
Product.
biggest
Yep.
business. And distributed capture, the smaller ones that you're used to, that market's owned by Epson, Fujitsu, where
Oh,
we have
okay.
great products, but
All right.
our biggest market is the production units.
So what's a good monthly volume, I guess, to say?
Oh, it's really hard to tell. We've got people that do, 1 million a month, 2 million
Okay.
pages a month. It really varies. I mean, people use these things 24 hours a day.
Okay. All right. So it's at that scale. It's not the 25 scans a day kind of.
No, no, no.
Got it.
It's really but we have those.
I understand.
We offer the
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
line, but that we're, we just get, but we sell, we have scanners that sell for, $95,000.
Hmm.
But again, there's a purpose, and its government is probably the biggest vertical.
What what type of documents are they scanning?
Everything. Um, Medical insurance forms. It really it's pretty much everything. And what's really going on, if you like the New York City marketplace. So I'm a New Yorker by, that's where I grew up.
All
And
right.
it's a shame because people aren't really back in the office. I don't care.
Rather not.
The kids aren't going back. And what's going on, there's a lot of backfile business going on. I've got a guy company I'm working with right now, and they've got a job, and they're going to be scanning. You can't believe this. They have 20,000 file boxes they have to scan. 20,000. If you an average, that's 2,500 pages per box.
Yep.
Okay.
That's going to take them like 30 years. So but it won't. But they've got really big scanners. They're going to be using the info input software to extract the data. But that's what's going on. It's a lot of, I want to get rid of my documents that I have.
No
That's all
kidding.
part of that digital transformation.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, it's even that on steroids, right? Digital transformation of that type has been going on for 20, well, at least 10 from 2014, 13.
Nah, it's been going on since God, Panasonic back when the
Yeah.
original scanners, people were like, I got to get rid of paper. Just like MFPs, paper's not going away. I mean, I look at my desk right now, it's cluttered with paper. But the companies want to get rid of, there's so much wasted space in offices.
Well, there's a space, but I think you swung into it, is that they want to have the access of the files no matter where they're working from. You can't do that if
Correct. Yep.
you're hard
So-
copied out. Yeah.
So Bill, as a manufacturer's rep, do you get insight to share with your dealers in case there might be state grants out there for
Yep.
Ooh.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
municipalities, like the state of New Jersey or the state of Pennsylvania is giving grants out for them to update their processes, business technology, to exactly what you're
Yeah, we try to, like,
selling.
look, we have a New York State contract, which, knock on wood, I love New York State. I love government.
Right.
And it's just a wonderful contract. And New Jersey is a little different to work with, but
Right.
you work with the different contracts like PEPM or NASPO, and just like
Right.
Pennsylvania.
But how about grants where the state actually gives money to even a business? I've heard of those before, where they'll give a business a $15,000 grant, or if they update their digital processes.
Yeah, and Panasonic, we had a person that was responsible for grant writing. And so they would actually do the grants for the states for specific like tough book computers. But we don't, the only way we know about a grant is when a bid comes out that will say, hey, you know, we did receive a grant for X, you know, of dollars to buy.
Understood. Yeah.
That's what we, and matter of fact, my son is works in the grant group at a hospital in New Jersey in the finance department. He's in charge of trying to get grants. But we do not, unless we're told about them, we do not find out.
Okay, and the reason I ask, I was just on the, as Greg calls it, the interweb today, searching in New Jersey to see if there's actually what types of grants are available for technology.
Yeah, it's big business.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, that would be a great plus if you've got going to a municipality and they weren't aware there's a $15,000 grant available, and they're just starting their journey with digital transformation.
Yeah, the last grant phone call I got was a police department up in rural Maine, and the guy said he's so close to the Canadian border, no one visits him, and all he wanted to do was get a price for 4 large production scanners so he could put it into the grant request.
Interesting.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So do you think some of the copier manufacturers are going to jump on board with this?
Oh, all of them, every one of them we've introduced it to, and we've had, it was funny, at Sharp, we introduced, you know, they got everyone calling on them. You know, my software is the best. And this is the quote for the gentleman in charge said, normally I took this call, I set the meeting, I wasn't expecting anything, but he goes, I was blown away. You know, and that, because it really is, it's you know, it really is a game changer. And once people start to use this, it will change, you know, the way companies do business.
Well, yeah. Cool. Well, okay, that goes back to then, so talk to me in general about the actual implementation process. What's the cost involved with that? By not dollars, but how much time? Give me a feeling for what it takes. I've been involved with these before, and on the workflow side,
Yep.
It took a long time.
It doesn't take as long. It really, you know, we have our professionals turn, you know, for a simple, I got like that charter school that does 1,000 invoices a week.
Right.
I think there was 3 days of, you know, professional services, and that's about it to get it, you know, all up and running. So it was pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
When you work with a dealer, does the dealer have to have a resource on site afterwards, or what kind of requirements?
Yeah, we do work with, I'll give you one that we work with. There's a company called PIF up in New Hampshire. Matter of fact, he's a Ricoh dealer, Art, and we don't have to do anything. He's just on board. He sells 2 or 3 solutions a month. We don't have to do anything with him.
Right.
Other resellers, we have to, you know, do everything for them. So it really varies on you know, the capabilities, but you know, that's right now. 5 years from now, I'm going to bet every reseller that's, you know, is still in this game is going to really understand this. They're going to have to.
Okay, understand it at a level of, so post-sale support and things like that go directly to you guys right now?
We the way we do it is a lot of our resellers that are really involved with this, they want post support to go to them first.
Okay.
And then what they'll do is they'll, if they have to bring us in, they'll bring us in.
Okay. Do they have to send a resource out to be trained?
No, we do all training remotely.
Okay. All right. So there is a training process for do you guys have your own like sales training and technical support? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It's fun. I mean, it's for me, it's been, you know, you're selling hardware. I mean, it's the boringest thing in the world if you're selling scanners. And it was at one time very exciting, but this is like, for me, it's like it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And or you know, it's funny, if I had known software sales earlier in my career, I think I would have, because I had a job offer at SAP many years ago, and I was like, what's software? I would have moved into software so many years ago.
Right,
Well,
right. Hey, so this input solution, is there a way this could work with wide format drawings? I mean, the issue with wide format drawings is that, basically the user's got to scan one wide format at a time. There's
yeah,
no automatic document feeders out there for wide format. So basically, would it be that they would just scan everything to a folder and info input could
which
monitor that and send it to the cloud?
you know what? I'd have to check on that
Okay,
right before, because that hasn't come. Good question though.
Well, so it takes any file that's scanned in and throws it up to the cloud, and that's where all the processing takes place,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
And you don't have to worry about any kind of, especially with healthcare, HIPAA, they want to
Yeah,
make sure
it was
everything's
good. Okay.
secure. So we have all the, all the documentation that everything is secure. This, our software actually sits behind the customer's firewall. So, because that's the biggest thing right now is security. If you saw what just happened to CDK, that company that processes all the auto leases and
Oh,
manages.
yeah.
I mean, what a disaster that was.
Well, AT&T just got hit, I think, with a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff too. Yeah. Yeah.
Glad I'm not using AT&T. I'd hate to have all my texts out there.
Well, all right. Okay. So this is all very interesting. It sounds familiar, but it's interesting that it does, uses the AI to go up and down. And I heard you say that, it doesn't matter. I might be paraphrasing what type of hardware it comes off of.
No, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And we do, we always recommend the Kodak, because they really are the best in the industry. But we're not gonna, if a customer's already got MFPs and they're not doing that much volume, we just, we're not, you say just use the MFP.
Well, what I also like what you said is that you're seeing a lot of backfiling going right
Yeah.
now. And that's very interesting. And I would imagine that if more people are going hybrid or remote and they want access to that data that's in a filing cabinet,
Yep.
you've got to send it up digitally. You've got to do it. And that's been something that we've been trying to, all three of us been trying to get customers to do for a long time. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, one of the big, our biggest one, another besides government is, mortgages and title.
Huh.
But because right now that's really, slowed down.
yes.
But if we can get interest rates to drop off a couple of points, that it will be a tidal wave where that business is going to start to pick up again.
Well, there's going to be pent up, there's different influences than other times when this kind of happened, but the demand's going to be pent up. Yeah. And it'll release hard. And then see, that's great because demand will be pent up. It'll come out, but the whole environment will be totally different. Stuff. The work environment will be different. Housing, even the housing industry is kind of different because of the way the big companies are buying up all the neighborhoods and renting them. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is going to be real interesting what it does. Just to see
Well, I feel bad for my kids that really would like to buy houses. They'll
Yeah.
never buy a house.
Well, yeah. Then I remember, or the end of the Carter years, it was 18% or whatever.
Yeah.
Credit
Yeah.
cards were 22%. It was ridiculous.
I read an article about the wealth of the baby boomers and how
Yeah.
that wealth is going to transfer to that next generation. And that next generation will be extremely well off.
I don't know. I'm taking mine down to Leisure Village, and I'm gonna be out down there drinking and having a good time with
Gotta
it.
spend all of it, right?
I'm not telling my kids where I am.
Where's Leisure Village at? I've heard of it. It's not like the villages in Florida, is it?
Oh, yeah, that's what it's called, the Villages. Yeah.
Oh, okay. By the way, those are huge. I mean, well, if you don't know, if you probably know, my God. And
Oh,
Hey,
that's
Bill-
right. Yeah.
So, Bill, I'm going to change gears on this a little bit. At the beginning of the show, we mentioned something about Ricoh.
Yep.
So, what have you heard?
I heard from a friend of mine who was hit in the downsizing that this week they did about there's a layoff of about 300 people. And he also told me that Canon also had a layoff
Really?
recently. I don't know how many people on that. But again, the industry, it's going through some changes.
What type of jobs?
Well, on my friend's side, it was solutions. It was all on the solutions side.
Hmm.
Got it.
But I couldn't tell you, individually who it was. He was pretty upset. Once you get a little bit older, it gets tougher and tougher to get a job.
Yeah, but if he there's a lot of dealers looking for some from people like him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So he'll, if he gets out there, he'll rebound pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, did either one
So-
of you hear about the HP thing the other day, or maybe last week? They're getting rid of their subscription print thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Which is interesting.
Yeah, it was
Right?
just one model or two models of
The E
laser
models,
printers.
yeah.
Yeah, that they're going to discontinue.
But I think they're getting rid of the subscription-based supplies thing. That's what I read it actually.
Yeah,
They
I have
were-
something on my site about it.
I forget what they're called. Subscription. They have a name for the program, but remember, it got everyone's feathers ruffled because what was it? If you put a non-HP in, the computer shut it down.
Oh, yeah.
You had to get the subscription service, which would give you ink cartridges or laser cartridges every month, right? It was like a lot of people thought it might have been a precursor to coming to the B2B market, and I don't know if it ever did, but I heard that they're going to cancel that too, which is interesting. And HP, well, this is very. I know a lot of people who moved from the MPS, the commercial B2B side, to the retail side. Huh.
That's it.
Here, I got it. I actually brought it up. HP discontinues cheaper U series printers due to customer issues with mandatory HP subscriptions. Discontinuation only affects LaserJet models with the E suffix. Standard models like the M110W remain available. Existing E series printers will continue to operate with current HP restrictions and benefits. HP plans to stop offering LaserJet models tied to HP Plus and extend some HP Plus features to new models. And then the last one is HP will discontinue the ink toner subscription service for new customers later this year.
Oh,
Current
wow.
current
So it's
subscriptions remain unaffected. So that's it.
So it is the whole program. Wow. All right. Well, things are always changing.
Yes, they are. And a matter of fact, they changed that. Another note that came across is the parliament in Germany finally threw out all of their fax machines.
Did they really?
Yes. Yes, staff ordered to remove all fax machines from the property no later than June 30th, 2024. So I guess that's happened already. Right?
Well, it's interesting. Did you see where Japan, I don't know what government, finally got rid of floppies?
I saw that. Yeah, Sony just stopped making their optical disk drive. There's no more optical disk drive. It's so interesting about fax machines, and you guys, cloud fax. You got companies like Gold Fax. What's the big one that's owned by
E-fax.
Yep, Concord, J2. But it's amazing. A hospital. So you take like a New York Presbyterian hospital, and they could be doing 20 million faxes a month.
Mm-hmm.
All cloud. And that's where we see a really big for us, because we could take a cloud fax and extract the data and then throw it into a patient record. But it's amazing that how the government has not really yet standardized on secure email to get rid of fax.
Yeah, I guess a lot of that goes down to the where prescriptions and stuff.
Absolutely. There's a company in
pharmacies.
Ohio called Cover My Meds, and they process most of the prescriptions not most, many of the prescriptions in the United States, and they do about 30 million faxes a month, and that's just maybe a third of their volume. So fax is still, and I always tell resellers when I'm visiting, I'm like, make sure you're pushing these products, because people are getting away from fax servers. They want cloud fax, but you just got to let them know that it's it's there.
Yeah, it's sometimes it can be very tough to figure out what those charges are.
Oh,
I mean, I was an accountant when we were doing this whole cloud fax thing, and they got out their bill and nobody could identify what that company was charging for their 3 existing lines.
oh,
I mean, we just
Yeah.
couldn't figure it out. There was no line item that said, okay, this number costs you X amount of dollars. I think that's, for guys like me and you, we're used to, trying to figure out what they're paying, right? And tell them that, okay, we're either going to be able to enhance your business for X amount of dollars more, right? And we're going to do all these wonderful things, or we're going to enhance your business and be able to save you some money, right?
oh, yeah.
So when you can't figure out what they're paying right now for those fax lines, it just makes the sale a little bit harder.
It
And,
does.
and that's what I've run across.
That's why it's best to try to go after, right fax. They're trying to get rid of, the people want their servers gone because they're really obsolete and their support is not. But that's what, again, you got to just make sure when you're at hospitals, anyone that's using one, it's a great source of additional revenue for a reseller.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, I can't believe we're still talking about fax.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Good,
My
Greg.
friends,
No, go
I have
ahead.
friends in the industry, and they do very well. And you sit there and they go, "Oh my God, fax! It just won't go away." Hey, in
Greg.
Canada, the government, they have a secure fax, a secure email standard for prescriptions for healthcare, and I think it's about 6, 7 years old now, and no one, people just don't want to move because fax is so secure and so easy.
Right. Hey, Greg, did you ever, Phil, did you ever sell fax machines in the 80s?
Well, I don't have much gray hair, but I absolutely did.
Okay. Greg, did you ever sell fax
Yeah,
machines
I
in the
sold fax
80s?
machines.
Okay.
Well,
All
they
right.
would be in the late 80s, and they were with.
All right. Did you
Yeah.
ever have some fun with fax machines?
Well, what do you mean by that, Art?
Well, when there was no caller ID, right?
Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
So what we used to do, and this is bad, but again, I was young and dumb. And we get an account that either bought from somebody else or was rude or ignorant or something like that, but we had their fax number, right? So we'd go to our fax machine, do I have a sheet of paper? We'd take a couple sheets of paper, right? And tape it, right? Tape the next piece to this piece, right? Start it in the fax machine, and when it starts to go through, take that next tape and tape it to the back end of the first page. Dial the number, press start. Somebody comes in the morning with
Friday
a whole roll of
yeah.
fax paper with a blank information just sitting on the floor or by the machine. I just thought I just had to tell you that story.
Fax machines were fun. Hey, every product is fun. That it's that's what's so great about I look at the reseller channel. The Sharp dealers, the Ricoh dealers, the Toshiba dealers. What a great channel. And it's just what products are going to be out there next to get into that channel. That's the big thing because they have. Well, you look at someone like Larry Weiss at Atlantic.
Right.
How many customers he has, or even Stratix, how many customers they have. And if you get a good, strong product, I mean, the potential it's just what products are next.
Right. Well, let me ask, what do you see? What do you think? I mean, beyond Kodak, what do both of you think? What's the next thing going to be, or what do you got a feeling for?
That I'm gonna let Art try to answer that one because that one I'm not even sure. I mean, AI is going to have a lot to do with it, but
just from what I got today, something like this that's simple, right? Simple, and you knock out one department at a time, AR or AP. This can be a very exciting product to actually get you into, as Bill said, cold call and get you into a net new account.
Oh yeah.
Screw trying to, hey, what is your lease end, or how many copy machines do you have? Screw that. Send them this information and say, hey, is there an interest? You know, can we schedule some time? You know, sometimes you need the what the hell do they call it? I can't think of it.
You know what's interesting about this whole like data entry? So we're working with a company up in New Hampshire. They're a flight maintenance company. And what they do is, so they get about 12 million pages a year. I'll say documents, it's really more pages of after you've worked on a plane, then that information gets PDF gets sent into headquarters to make sure, you know, that everything was done. So, and they're paying right now 100 people in, I think it's Pakistan, to enter the data. And, you know, now that I'm really involved with this, I cannot believe how cheap it is to pay 100 people to input data. And that's one of the problems that we have, is that we're competing with very, very low cost labor. But what they said to us on the, you know, in the meetings, that it's going to, there's a lot of errors. You know, that's the one thing, you know, they brought up. They say there are errors. I can't even imagine myself on a Monday entering data. I'd be 100% errors. I'd be like, but it's going to raise their Six Sigma standing. And and so there's other factors that go in besides cost of eliminating data entry. But data entry, you know, it's going to be gone.
So is that gone? Bill, is that important to companies, that if you state maybe going with a solution like this, you're going to be able to increase your
Six Sigma standing?
Six Sigma standing?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yep.
And when you're talking to a CIO,
CFO, and a reason why is because when they're trying to get new business, and they can say that, you know, we're a whatever it is, black belt, Six Sigma, I forget how they rate,
right?
but it really adds to their credibility. It's like Gartner, like when you're, but I mean, Six Sigma is a little bit higher up, but like, you know, being in there, the Gartner, you know, whatever they call it, you want to show that you're a major player.
Yeah, ISO compliance and things like that. There's certain certifications that you have to send your staff through to be Six Sigma and then all that stuff. So yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, but that's, you know, I think the younger generation is going to have to embrace, you know, whoever embraces our channel and comes out with products that can be sold to this channel. That's what we need, you know, because I mean, they've got the customers, and it's hard to get customers.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
What do you think about the new generations coming in, impacting the channel as well as, you know, work in general?
I would say that our generation, we worked harder, right? Because we had to, you know, and I don't think we took rejection like, as you know, the younger people, you know, they lose a deal. It's like mentally, you know, devastating. Well, for us, we're like, okay, you lose, not me. You know, you could. So I think
that's interesting.
The work ethic has changed quite a bit, where we were not entitled. You know, we had to earn. You know, we had to work every day to get what we want, and you could hit us over the head with a bat. You know, especially, you know, working for Panasonic, and I was hit over the head with a bat. You know what it's like working for the Japanese were great, but they, you know, I loved working for the Japanese, but they taught you work ethic, you know, beyond belief.
Yeah, I read an article today from CJ Canada.
Oh,
and basically that article was told a paragraph about how many companies outside of the copier industry are just stealing the reps, right? And you know, they're offering them incredible amounts of annual salary that the copier manufacturers, the copier dealers have not been able to match or don't want to match. You know, putting a sales rep on that's got maybe 1 or 2 years experience for 80 grand.
Yep.
You know,
which is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Unless they've got that much mystery and margin in their products, it doesn't matter.
But you know what, Art, like you, because I do this all the time. I have people that have different products, and they call me up and they go, okay, we're trying to sell this product. How would you do this? And because of the background that we've learned over the years, we could sell any product. You know, you just think about it for a little while and you say, okay, this is okay. We have to run this through distribution, right? You've learned so much in this industry that you could be your value anywhere you go.
Feature, advantage, benefit.
Oh, and who to sell
Fab.
it to. Yep. You know, where to find the people, you know, the hot points about it. But the copier guys, I'll say our generation, you know, even younger, these guys were good salespeople
Mm-hmm.
and good managers. I mean, it's you know, it was a great industry to grow up in.
Yeah. Well, it's still, I mean, I remember all the pharmaceuticals were stealing reps when
Yep.
even the tech guys would take, especially if you went through a Xerox or one of the OEM trainings. The Xerox, I remember they went after the Xerox trained reps.
Oh, yeah.
And IBM and things like that.
Well, at
And
Panasonic,
yeah.
well, quick story at Panasonic. So when I used to manage, I had a thing where I would never hire Xerox people because I hired a couple of Xerox people, and the first thing they did, they went to the desk and they said, "Okay, where are my leads?"
Right.
And at Panasonic, we're like, "Leads? You know, we're selling copiers that barely work. I mean, you got to go out there and you know, and you know, get out there and do it yourself."
Yeah, I remember that stuff. I boy, I can't remember if I sold the Panasonics that came out in color. Remember those the colored? They
Yep. And then we had a product that was so bad, and it was really interesting. Panasonic, if you open up any copier today, any MFP, there's parts made by Machista or Panasonic as
Yes.
right. They're all over. But our own product, they came out with some stuff that was so good, and that over the years they weren't as good. And then we had one product called the Workio.
Oh, I
And
remember the Workio.
the Workio, and everyone called it the no Workio.
Yeah.
And that was really the end of the copier industry. And one of my Japanese friends said they really got out of it 7 years too early because they felt that it was going to be more, you know, they were worried about the Ricos, and because we weren't a major player.
Right.
You know, we were,
Right.
third tier, but we had great dealers, and
Yes.
and the product was, I joke about the product worked.
Yeah.
You know, it did work, but we did go through a spell where there was some bad product.
Growing pains. I remember. I think was it Kyocera? Yeah, when Kyocera first hit, right? They out of New Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was Kyocera. I went there for a product rollout, and I'll be down if the copies weren't skewed. They were skewed. They were literally crooked coming
Yeah,
out of this demo unit, the brand new thing. I'm going,
Wow.
guys, it's crooked.
But they should have checked it, right?
Right. I mean, it wasn't off a lot, but it was a lot. You know, you're talking to a bunch of copier guys. A bunch of us going.
Well, obviously they weren't that good because there's certain steps that you have to prep for a demo, right? There's
Right.
at least 10 different steps. And I actually wrote a blog about this, that before you do a demonstration,
Yeah.
these are the 10 things you need to do.
Who was it? Bill Sharpou? Was that his name? Guy who he was in charge of Icon, and then he left Icon, I think, right before the merger or something. And then he went over and brought Kyocera into the States, and that's how.
Well, Kyocera got in by buying Mita.
Mita, that's right. Yep.
They bought Mita in Fairfield, or Mita
New
in
Jersey?
Japan.
Oh.
Well, yeah. So Mita was actually a privately owned company in Japan.
Must have forgotten that. Okay, so the Kyoceras that came into the U.S. were Mita machines.
Well, yeah, absolutely. They
Yeah.
bought the entire lock, stock, and barrel of Mita worldwide, and then everything became Kyocera after that.
What's interesting about Kyocera is, you know how kids now are in diamonds, or you know, kids are buying, you know, man-made diamonds because
Oh, okay.
there is no difference between a natural diamond and a man-made. I have a friend of mine that's a jeweler, and he's, you know, he'll show you there is no difference except for the numbering inside the. And so you see these kids now with these engagement rings, they're gigantic. And Kyocera actually is one of the biggest manufacturers of diamonds, industrial diamonds.
Right.
And that's a whole, you know, that's a whole industry that the whole blood diamond thing, but that industry will disappear. Because why would you ever spend 10 times as much for a natural diamond when you could buy a man-made one that is literally the same?
Interesting.
But Kyocera is real big in that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Don't they make the knives, the
The
ceramic?
knives, yeah,
Yes, yeah.
yep, ceramic.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
It's
Wow.
amazing what these companies do, that you don't know. Like even Panasonic, if you go into an airplane, they make all the screens for the airlines. When you're looking at or the in-flight systems, they do
Mhm.
that. But the biggest thing they do is heavily involved with Tesla. Every Tesla car battery is made by Panasonic.
Really?
Ooh, I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, they're so big in that business, and all the Tesla battery plants are really Panasonic plants.
Okay.
So
That's kind of
they look at that. That's they know electric cars really are the future. Once you get the mileage up to right now the mileage sucks, but
yeah, but that's battery. Yeah, yeah.
once you get the mileage up to where I can plug this bad boy in 15 minutes and I'm going to get 500 miles, game over.
You think so?
15
Yeah,
minutes. Yeah, it should.
Mm.
It should. But
The
there's also
infrastructure's still not there either.
yeah, you got the infrastructure, and I still go with the weather as an issue too. I mean, until you can put a shovel on the front of them, and it's in Chicago clearing the airline or the airport runways and dropping salt at the same time, and it's electric. Now you've got something.
right.
But
I don't know whether
until
you guys
then,
know this or not. You know the company Papercut?
yeah.
Go on their website. They also sell charging
Oh
systems.
yeah.
I was like, when I found that out, I was like blown away, and I'm like, what a good idea.
Well, who went? Chip Maselli's big on that. He's trying to push that through.
Oh, is he
picked up
really?
the line. Yeah, he picked it up and it was running with it at least a couple years now. Yeah, he was. I think he might have even helped that whole thing come to fruition.
'Cause I look at that and I go, if I was a reseller, I mean, I'm sure that's what their game plan is. And
That's
and, we,
exactly yeah.
and I was the person who we had a dealer meeting, and one of the dealers was telling me, he goes, I could sell these to a franchise Burger King owner or McDonald's, right? Put them in there. And what people don't realize about charging is that, it's not free. Everyone
Right.
thinks it's free, but every time you charge your car, you're getting whacked, 35, $40.
Right.
And so that McDonald's owner can make a lot of money doing this. So I saw that Papercut's doing this, and I'm going, these guys are geniuses.
It's interesting. I don't know why it's been because they haven't taken off. Right. I mean, there's probably a bunch of other reasons I'm unfamiliar with, probably regulation and all that crap. But
Yeah, that could be.
Regulations, permits, what it
I don't
takes
know.
to, do the power, get the power done. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a lot to it.
That's why you got to give it to the copier industry. They'll figure a way. You give it to a couple of copier reps, it'll be all over the place.
No, they will figure a way. You're right. You're right.
Yes, they will. All right, everyone, we've come to the witching hour, which
Oh.
is 5 o'clock. And I'd like to thank Bill. Great having you on.
No,
And,
thank you. It
Yeah,
was
Bill, that
great
was
on a
fun.
Friday afternoon this summer. Business slows down, so it was fun conversation.
Absolutely. And please give me send me an email or give me a shout offline. And like to learn a little bit more about this input so I can use it to prospect.
Right, absolutely, and I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And to Greg, who I always refer to as the king of MPS.
If it's still around.
It'll be around for quite a while. So,
right.
and just real quick, a recent article said that basically it's still going to continue to grow because basically all these single function printers are going away.
Yeah. Yeah. Multifunction. It'll be interesting. It's not what it was in the olden days, but it's still around. So.
Yep. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Please
All right.
remember to like, follow, share, and we'll be back next week. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Art.
See ya.
Thanks, Greg. Bye.
Bye-bye.